Okay, it is 2 minutes after noon, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Welcome to today's webcast series presentation, using business intelligence software to boost profitability. My name is Beth Brooks. I'm Director of Civil and Structural Engineer Magazine, published by Zwag Group. Thank you for joining this webcast, which is sponsored by BQE. Before we begin today's presentation, first some general information about the webcast and the GoToWebcast platform. The views of the speakers and organizations participating in this webcast are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Civil and Structural Engineer or its publisher, the Zwag Group. If you have any technical difficulties while viewing this webcast, please submit questions or a brief explanation of your technical problem using the Ask a Question box on the left side of the webcast dashboard, and a representative will assist you. Note the button in the upper right corner to enlarge the slide viewing window if desired. During the webcast, you also can submit questions to our speakers using the same Ask a Question box. Submit your questions at any time, and we will try to answer as many as we can later in the webcast. Zwag Group encourages group learning for our events. If you are viewing the live webcast with a group on one registered person's computer, that person must complete and submit the multiple viewer registration form for the group in order for everyone to earn credit. Download the multiple viewer registration form from the event resources on the left side of the webcast dashboard. Submission instructions are on the form. Also, note a link in the event resources section to download a PDF of the slides in today's webcast. Details on downloading a certificate of completion will be provided later in the webcast. Viewers of archived webcasts must pass a quiz in order to download a certificate of completion. Additionally, at the end of today's event, we will provide a webcast evaluation survey for you to submit your feedback. Today's presenter is Shafat Qazi, CEO and founder of BQE Software. The learning objectives for the event are shown for your review. Details on downloading a certificate of completion will be provided later in the webcast. Viewers of archived webcasts must pass a quiz in order to download a certificate of completion. So let's get started. Shafat, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, and good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are. I just want to make sure all of you can hear me okay. We've seen some questions pop up saying, we're not able to hear. So a quick shout out to, maybe a few of you can say whether you can hear me okay or not. Just put it in the question box so that we can confirm that the audio is going through okay. And I will get started with the presentation. So I'm not seeing anybody saying anything yet. So Beth, do you know if there is an audio issue? Because we had a few people saying no audio. I was able to hear okay. Loud and clear. Okay, thank you. All right, let's get started then. And thank you, Ian Harris, for letting us know that you can hear us loud and clear. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shafat Qazi. I am the CEO and founder of BQE Software. Many of you probably know BQE Software. We've been in business for over 20 years. We are one of the world's biggest time tracking, expense tracking, project management, billing, accounting, and business intelligence software provider. We've been doing this for 20 years. But today's topic is something that is very near and dear to me, and I'm really passionate about it, is really business intelligence and how business intelligence can make a difference in your business, and how you can take advantage of business intelligence to really work smarter, not harder. And so what I will do is I'll make it really fast and to the point. I will start by just talking about what business intelligence really means, because if you ask the definition of business intelligence to a lot of people, different business owners and managers think of it differently. So I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about that, and then how in general intelligence and technology related intelligence, including artificial intelligence, may be impacting your business. And then we'll talk about making your business efficient. And of course, I'll give you some examples along the road. I want to also show you a little bit of business intelligence in one of the products as to an example of how you could really take that business intelligence and make it useful for your business so that you can make those educated decisions. So let's get to the first slide. What is business intelligence? As you can see, essentially, especially in this day and age, there's so much data that we produce on a daily basis that it becomes really, really, difficult for us to really make sense out of it. And the process of data mining has become so tedious and so difficult for average person that you can't really, get that kind of time to spend and figure out what's going on with the data. So if we have tools and other technologies that can analyze that data and present it to me as a business owner or as a manager in simple, actionable manner, then I can make some executive decisions, based on that. So a good example would be, take a look at this slide as an example. So it shows me that I have, made $12,500 revenue from a client called Howard Rourke, and I also made $156,000 revenue from LADWP, and you can see that it also shows me the number of hours and how long it takes for the client to pay. So this kind of data, when it's hundreds of lines or thousands of lines, it's very difficult for a business owner or a manager to figure out what does all this mean. So a business intelligence software might translate into saying, hey, here's what you need to do. In order for you to improve cash flow, you need to get more of clients that are in the private industry because they pay the fastest. Howard Rourke pays in 38 days, so he pays way faster than anybody else. If you want to increase revenue, which means you want to make more money per hour, then get government clients. So you can see we're making about $196 per hour with the LADWP, but they take longer to pay. And similarly, if you want to really make more money and also get fairly paid, not too slow, not too fast, then healthcare might be your best bet. So if I am running a business and I'm the owner of the business, I'm the president of the company, the CEO of the company, and I have to make decisions about where to invest my time in terms of marketing and where to invest money in terms of marketing, I would want to look at a report like this or a dashboard like this that tells me that I should be spending more money in healthcare. And if I have a cash flow problem, that I should be going after more like private clients. So maybe I'll do a balance. I'll get some private clients and get more healthcare clients to increase the compensation that I have, and at the same time be paid in a fairly quick manner. Not necessarily in 1 month, but maybe within 2 months from the date of the service provided. So this is really what we need as business owners, as managers, to be able to get our fingers on the pulse of our business and have some intelligent software present the information to us in plain English, basically saying, hey, this is what you got to do, or this is your problem. Here are your rainmakers, and here are your bottlenecks. Now, it goes without saying that if you have implemented business intelligence tools in your business, you will immediately see a significant improvement in your operational efficiency because you are not, obviously spending time on things that you don't need to spend time on. I can tell you, as a CEO of a company myself, the perception is so far off from reality often. I often ask people about something and they give me an answer, and then I look at the data, it's completely opposite. So, while somebody might say, hey, you know what, we were really busy, but the fact might be that we're actually making, less money than last year, or we're less busy than last year. So it all depends on, looking at the data. So not only does a business intelligence tool allow you to not only improve your decision-making capability, it also allows you to accelerate that because you now can quickly look at any piece of information and make a business decision quickly on that because you don't have to talk to 500 people or take months to put the data together. Now, of course, we understand best practices. We at BQE, and we have been following customers to understand their best practices, and we try to put data together and trying to understand why is it that some businesses make more money than another business in the same neighborhood, about the same size, providing the same exact service. So, again, I want to repeat this. Why is it that some business makes a lot more money than another business in the same neighborhood of the same size, providing the same exact service? The difference is how they work, which is they work smarter, not harder. So they use tools and technology and business intelligence and often, clever marketing that differentiate. So there are a lot of things that we have figured out that play a role in that, improving that, revenue or income. And one of them, of course, is the fact that you got to have a good business intelligence software. There's a lot of things that we found out, like, companies that provide 2 monitors to employees, have more efficient employees or more productive employees than with 1 monitor on a workstation. So those kind of things. Anyway, so what are the tools out there that you can get, that will allow you to, provide business intelligence to yourself or your managers, other than analytical and query tools? We all know about enterprise reporting. Very important. This has been out there for a long time, where we would run enterprise reportings. We then added the online analytical processing, or commonly known as OLAP. Then we added the business intelligence through mobile, and of course the dashboards. Now, dashboards took over in the last few years, which brought in the business KPIs. And what is at the horizon now, in addition to the dashboards, is artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence then resulting in business intelligence, and I'll talk about that. I'll give you a quick example of. I'd like to share like a couple of stories that kind of highlight the importance of simple changes that business intelligence products can then have you make, and how they can result in dramatic improvements. So you all know about UPS, and UPS is a company that does over 18 million deliveries per day to about 250 million address points. So they have a software that allows their drivers to route their route for the day based on where they have to drop the packages. And the software actually does it very efficiently. It makes sure that the route is so efficient that the person can get done in a minimum amount of time. And this software used to run for many years, and UPS had an opportunity to analyze the data collected by the software and put it through a business intelligence tool. And what the business intelligence tool came up with was that the majority of the time spent by their trucks was being wasted on left turns. Now, in a right side driving countries like ours, left turn is more time consuming and often risky too, as compared to right turns. So this was something that the engineering team and R&D team found to be interesting. They started reworking the software because of this, and they started creating routes that completely eliminated the left turns and basically rerouted the driver. Often the route was longer, but definitely faster because the driver was simply making right turns. And they, ended up saving over $400 million a year just in the gas prices for their trucks, and and avoided emission equal to 20,000 passenger cars a year. So this was something that, and of course, not to say that the minimum accidents were happening to their trucks because they were just making right turns. So if you see a UPS truck making a left turn, that's very unusual because all their trucks are now designed to deliver all the packages while they maintain only right turns throughout their route. That's more efficient, faster, and safer for them. Now, the question you need to ask is your business making left turns that you're not aware of? In many cases, you wouldn't even know that left turn was a problem until you would get the right tool to analyze that. Another interesting story I'll tell you, Walmart, this was several years ago, Walmart, during a storm, one of the managers in one of the Walmarts received a huge package of strawberry Pop-Tarts. Now, you get the plywood, you get the plastic, and you get duct tape, and suddenly with that you also get a shipment of strawberry Pop-Tarts. Now you wonder as a manager of Walmart saying, what the heck why am I getting strawberry Pop-Tarts when we are about to be hit by a very major storm? And this is because the business intelligence software that Walmart uses had detected from the previous storms that whenever there's a storm, there's a spike in strawberry Pop-Tart sales. This is what people typically want to stock up with. And sales typically go up 700% for strawberry Pop-Tarts. So the software was smart enough to inform the managers, and they shipped more of the strawberry Pop-Tarts right before a storm. Primarily, my guess was because they don't require heating, they can be used with any meal, and they last forever. So, and sure enough, even though they shipped 7 times more than normal, they were all sold out. And this is where they made more money on things that you didn't even think of would sell more during a normal storm. I want to give you one more example, but let's look at the two I talked about: the left turns by the UPS truck and the shipping an inventory item that is not necessarily related to what the market demand might look like or you may perceive to be market demand during a storm. But this is where the business intelligence tool would come in and tell you something that you're going to like, oh, I would have never thought of that. As the CEO of BQE Software, I also try to visit my customers, office, at least 4 or 5 customers a year. And I want to spend a day, I typically spend a day or 2 days with them. And during this day or 2 days, I try to, understand how they use our products. And one of the trips I recently took, well, actually, it was a few years ago, was an engineering company in Canada. And in the morning, I spent some time with the project managers and then the people that enter time and expenses into the system and billing people. Around 2, 3 o'clock, I was in a conference room. I was supposed to meet with the partners of the firm. And before I was getting ready to meet with them, I looked at their company file in our software and ran some business intelligence reports to understand their business. And the partners came into the room, and I said, hey, thank you so much for allowing me to, spend a day with your staff. I learned a lot from your billing team, from your accounting team, from your project managers. This has been huge, and I really appreciate it. And they all sat and they said, okay, now it's our turn. I said, yeah, can I ask you a question? So I asked all three of them one question. I said, who's your most important client? And it was almost without any thought. All three of them said the same thing. They said, oh, this is a no-brainer, ABC developer is our best client. And then I asked the partners, I said, why do you think ABC developer is your best client? And one partner said, oh, look at the revenue, Last year, he was responsible for 40% of the money that came in. And then another partner said, he gets so many projects. He keeps us busy. He's, obviously, he works with us very closely. And the third partner said, Shifat, this client is actually not a client. It's almost like a partner. We've been working for the last 15 years. It's the best client we have. And then I said, okay, how about if I tell you that I think you should fire ABC developer? And they were all obviously shocked and surprised at the same time. And they said, why would we fire a person who brings in 40% of the revenue and, so many projects? I said, well, here's what I saw. And I showed them the report. And the report said something very simple. I said, look at ABC developer. The average effective rate, the bill rate you have with ABC developer is $38 an hour, which is significantly lower than any other client. Your best client is a client that you got last year that you're making approximately $145 an hour for that client's work. But you have other clients that are at $85 an hour and more. So why would you work for somebody at $38 an hour? To be honest with you, based on your salary rates and your overhead multipliers, in many cases you're actually losing money at $38 an hour average billing rate for that client. So while, yes, ABC client does give you a lot of projects, but the fact is that it's those number of projects that you do for this client that keeps you so busy that you don't have the time to market your services to better clients who would pay you more, such as your new client that's paying you $145 an hour. So I recommended to them, I said, based on the business intelligence, what I would do is I would start marketing more for this type of client that gets me more higher revenue per hour as compared to my ABC developer, and slowly sunset the ABC developer. And that, again, is something that I was able to tell them literally by just spending less than an hour in their company file using the business intelligence of one of our products and, sharing that with them. And of course, one of the partners called me a few years later and said that they have more than double their revenue, and if they do less work with ABC developer now, which of course is also a good idea because you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to put too much. You don't want to make one client give you too much higher percentage of your income. You want each client to be actually, my rule is that never have a client that is more than 10% of your revenue. Then you're risking it. Okay, so this is a good time, almost half time, for us to do a quick survey. And there are 3 questions that that I would appreciate you all can participate. This helps us improve our webinars and, of course, our products. So let's go ahead and do that now. Beth, am I supposed to run the survey, or are you going to run those? I can run them. Let me run them. So survey question number 1, I will send the survey to the audience. Are you using any software to manage your projects? So I would love to see all of you participate in it.
You can push them.
Yeah. Okay. So I would appreciate if all of you can look at your computer screens and participate in the survey. So far, we have Um, Less than half of you have participated in it, so we need more. So the question, are you using any software to manage your projects? Should be an easy answer. So yes and no. All right, we're going to close the survey in 3, 2, 1. All right, and I will share the results with you just so that you can see that 56% said yes and 43% said no. So almost split in the middle, but still more people are using. So question number 2, there's 3 questions altogether. I'm going to send you question number 2. Which one of these is your biggest challenges? I'd love to hear an answer on that. Please participate in this one. Which one of these is your biggest challenges? Keeping projects within budget, getting the invoice out to the clients on time, or entering credit card and bank transactions into your accounting software? Where do you see yourself or your staff struggling with and spending too much time with? So please pick one of the 3 answers. Which one of these is your biggest challenge? Okay, we need a few more people. All right, we're going to close this survey in 3, 2, 1. Done with that, and I will share the results. Overwhelming people have said that keeping the projects within budget is their biggest challenge, and I'm not surprised. Project management is, especially project overruns, is the biggest challenge. Now, we're curious on your outlook for 2018. So the last survey question is, how do you feel about 2018? Do you feel that the business will most likely grow or be the same, or it's going to slow down? Now, this is based on your current activity at the office. How are you feeling? So please help us out with this last survey. We'll then continue with the rest of my webinar here on business intelligence. How do you feel about 2018? Is it going to be better or worse than last year, or about the same? All right, we're going to end this survey in 3, 2, 1. Ending the survey. So this one's about 44 and 44 between most likely to grow and same. Very few people feel negatively about that. So I sent you the results. So good. All right. So we're back to the slides. Now I just want to make sure that you all can see my key performance indicator slide. Okay. Everybody can see that slide? All right, good. So now the big question comes in. Hey, Shafat, you told us what business intelligence is. You gave us some really nice examples of, how business intelligence has made a difference in businesses. Hold on a second. And we like to know now, what do we track as project managers, as business owners, as partners? What do we need to worry about? What are these key performance indicators? Now, first of all, a lot of people say, what is KPI? KPI is something that you can measure and that can demonstrate, of course, effectively a company's like achieving certain business objectives. So a good example of KPIs is profit. Profit is a key performance indicator. Is the profit, up or down? So that would be an important KPI. Cost, net promoter score, number of new projects. A lot of companies say, oh, I want to track the number of new jobs that I got this year compared to last year, so that's a KPI for me. And that's okay. Doesn't really matter what KPI you're tracking, but there are certain ones that we know are critical, such as your margins and your profits and your, balance sheet, those kind of things. Now, performance indicators that I like you to start tracking, and this is something, if nothing, you may want to print this out, say, hey, I want to track those KPIs that help us increase our productivity. Those KPIs that will help us reduce the cost and increase efficiency. And of course, KPIs that will give us insight on how to win more clients. And last but not the least, the KPIs that will help us boost profits. Now, it's interesting that a lot of people would say, wouldn't increase efficiency also increase productivity? Not necessarily. Productivity and efficiency are two different things, but yes, both of them are kind of related. They're most likely to complement each other. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to talk about one product that we have called BQE Core that has fully integrated business intelligence, and there's no better way to really show you how you can implement business intelligence in your company than use actual products that are available, because when we talk about business intelligence, it's not Excel spreadsheets, okay? Those days are gone. We don't do business intelligence with Excel spreadsheets now. We need BI tools that actually can take our company's information and kind of make it into a system where then intelligent algorithms can figure out what we need to do next. So let me then switch to my my product here and see if I can go ahead and share my screen with all of you. There you go. I'm preparing for broadcast. Okay. So, okay, that's good. All right. It says you're now broadcasting. Okay. So let's hope everything's working okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start by showing you the login screen of our product, which will then land into my dashboard. So now, hopefully all of you are able to see the screen. You may want to maximize it, but this is really what I was talking about earlier as business intelligence. So this is BQE's core product, which, when you log in, the first thing I get as the manager is I get my dashboard called Management KPIs, or Management-Related Key Performance Indicators. Now you can see that as a manager, what I'm tracking as the owner of the company is I'm tracking my income. I'm looking at the sources of my income. Where is my money coming from? Which type of projects are bringing in the revenue? And to the right of that, I'm tracking my money out, my expenses. Where am I spending most of my money? Of course, I can see the categories, and it's very obvious that salaries is a big one in there. And then finally, another KPI that I'm tracking is my profits and income versus expenses. So the blue bars are my income, and the yellow bars are my expense. And I'm also looking at the profit line, which is green. Now, if I wanted to look at it a different period, of course, I could choose that filters in there, and instead of saying last 12 months, I could say, last 6 months or last 24 months, and I can change the refresh rate if I wanted that data to refresh more often. There are other KPIs that I'm tracking, such as my receivables. So is my money stuck in a bucket that is more than 90 days old? Then I would be concerned. Luckily, in this case, the purple color, which indicates 91 days and above, is small. So I'm not doing that bad. But I do have a lot of money stuck between that 31 and 60-day period, and that is a little concerning there. My project performance, very important to me, which projects are bringing in most revenue for this year, and I can see what are my top performing projects. And finally, I'm also tracking my earned value. Now, those of you who understand earned value or use it in your business, tracking the earned value by cost as well as revenue is important. And in this case, the orange line is the cost and the blue line is the revenue. And you want that gap between the orange line and blue line to be as big as possible so that you're making more profit and you have larger margins. Now, this is just one example of a dashboard that I might want as a manager or as an owner of the company to track my business data and act intelligently when I see an anomaly on it. I may have a personal dashboard that I could track on my personal level. For example, in my dashboard, not much of a business intelligence, but my to-dos are there, my reimbursables are there. So this is where I'm doing my dashboard for things that I care for. I'm tracking my own personal billable and non-billable time, but again, important in a way this intelligence being presented to me so that I know that my non-billables are not as high. So I like to see that pie chart of my paid time off and billable and non-billable hours so that I know I'm on track as an individual. So again, dashboards in Core, you can of course have as many dashboards as you want, and to create the dashboard that gives you the intelligent information that allows you to then say, let me pick up the phone and call such and such person and figure out why we have so much money stuck with the clients, why they're not paying. That's the kind of information you want at your fingertips without you having to spend hours and hours in Excel spreadsheet or hire a CPA to give you this kind of information. Now, if you are an owner of a company or a project manager or a business manager or you manage employees, it's extremely important for you to know that in today's day and age, if you're not equipped with the right tool to manage your business that provides you the kind of intelligence that something like Core does, you are really not going to be able to survive too long because your competition, everybody else, is already working and using these tools. I'll show you a very simple example. Here's how we can display an efficiency of an employee in Core. Now, I'm going to go to the employee screen and check one of my employees here called Scott Jackson and look at Scott Jackson's performance. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that performance tab and watch what I get in a fraction of a second. Now, this is something that a lot of companies would pay previously, a few years ago, they would pay $5,000, maybe even $10,000 to their CPA to come in and give them this kind of information. What is my ideal pay rate for this employee? Okay, this is the rate at which the employee is okay, we're still making profit. What is the minimum bill rate? Now, that's the rate. If we bill less than $135 an hour for Scott Jackson, then we are losing money. And what is the effective bill rate, which means that looking at his past performance, what are we making per hour from Scott Jackson? $163 an hour. And what's the effective cost rate for Scott Jackson? This includes his overheads and everything else. So again, when the system says, hey, you can pay this person up to $73 an hour, don't ever bill him less than $135. He's making $163. That kind of information, having that information for each employee prior to their review or generally looking at, when you're trying to issue raises is going to be huge. It's going to allow you to make those decisions right. We also show you the utilization and the realization and the margins, 36% margin for Scott Jackson. Is that good? Is that bad? That's something that you would learn, and the software will tell you when it's in trouble. It'll show that number in red. So this is the kind of information that business owners and managers need today without having to, hire a CPA to provide that kind of information. Let's look at client performance real quickly. Simple, same as the employee performance, but now you're looking at your clients. Remember that client I was talking about, ABC developer, that kind of information. How do you get that kind of information in a software like ours? Very simple. Let's pick a client, ArcLight Theaters, and go to the Performance tab. And I want to look at this client's performance not since I have had the client, but only for this year to date. So I want to look at how this client's performing for 2017. So let's pick this year to date and watch these numbers get updated instantly. So now I can see that I'm making 62% profit with ArcLight Theaters. And we have completed 35% of the contract work that he's given us or she's given us, and then 92% of what we've invoiced this client has been paid. There are other KPIs like what are my write-ups and write-downs, what is my total hours towards the projects this year, and what is my work in progress, that kind of stuff. Again, very critical information if you're a business owner or a project manager or principal or partner to have this kind of information. Look at that earned value for that one specific client, billability analysis for that one specific client. Now imagine running that for all clients and being able to sit down and decide on if you have to let go clients or if you have to market into the areas, which industries to market in based on which clients are more profitable for you. Having those margins available to you anytime in real time and allowing you to make those decisions intelligently using the right business intelligence tool is what will differentiate you from anybody else. Project performance, no different than client performance. We let you capture everything at the project level. I'll just show you real quickly my ArcLight Theaters or any project, that you may want to track. For ArcLight Theaters, of course, this is a multiple phase project. So let's look at that real quick and look at the performance on that particular project. Now, before I get to the performance, I just want you to know that business intelligence does not come in on its own. In a software like this, which provides business intelligence, there is some basic information you got to enter. You got to talk about, how much the contract is, and when was it signed, and what are the terms, and then people have to record time and expense against the thing. You may want to even set up some billing criteria in here, and business intelligence tools will then use all of that data and basically be able to look at the project structure, look at the rules, look at the details of your contract, and then track the time and expense, and then be able to bring in these beautiful bar charts and graphs specific to that particular project and tell you what's going on and whether you're making money or not, whether you need to go ahead and have a meeting with the project manager. So all of this available, but you do need to provide some basic attributes in order for these business intelligence software to really work effectively. So that is just a simple example of dashboard-related intelligence. Of course, enterprise reporting-related intelligence is also critical for a good business owner to be able to obviously manage their business effectively and work smart, not hard. So I'll show you quickly 2 or 3 reports that I feel are critical for every business to monitor and how simple yet how effective these reports are. So under my analysis, I have a report here called Employee Realization Rate Report. So if I run this report, and I can run it for any time period. So I'm going to run it for last fiscal year, which is 2016. And now guess what it shows? This is very interesting. It shows me that there is a gap of negative 14% for Scott Jackson, 14.92% gap between what my target rate for Scott Jackson was, which is my, what I really want to bill him at, and what I ended up billing him at. I want to bill him at 175, ended up billing him at 152, so I'm 14% below target per hour on Scott Jackson last year. So now that's not good. A lot of employees, we missed the target rate. So now let's look at the same report for this year. I'm going to run it again, and this time I'm going to choose this fiscal year instead of last fiscal year to see if there is any improvement. So let's say this year to date, and I'll go ahead and hit continue on that. And now I see that Scott Jackson's about 6.98%, above the above the target rate. So again, this is something that business intelligence software like ours, BQE Core is a good example, but there's a lot of products actually that can do this. But the point is, what matters to you? What matters to you is that are your employees hitting the targets that you set for them, and you set them up in the software, and then it analyzes everything and tells you whether or not they are hitting those targets. And if they're not, obviously, we have an issue. So let's talk about profits real quick. Profits, very important KPI, and there's multiple ways of measuring profit, but I like to measure project profitability. I saw your survey, by the way. All of you said, oh my God, project overruns a nightmare. Now, this is where you would need alerts. A business intelligence software sending you an alert saying, there's a problem here. Look at this. Percentage of the profit we're making in the projects. Oh, this is a company I would want to run because everything is great with an exception of one or two projects that are running in negative. Most of them are positive, but that's a dream come true. You don't get that kind of situation, but you will get that kind of situation if you do have the right tools and you empower your project managers with the right tools and convert them into business managers. And they're going to turn those projects into profits. And that will mushroom up to having bigger profits for the entire business. So very important to know what your targets should be at the project level and then at the company level. So enterprise reporting is huge. I mean, there's so many beautiful and powerful reports. I'll show you one last one, top 10 clients. Which clients are bringing in most money and most value to the business? Run that top 10 client report and make sure you send them a nice Christmas gift this Christmas. One thing that this report shows that I like about this report is that it tells me that the top 10 clients bring in 35% of my revenue of overall $2.7 million revenue. They bring in about $1 million, which is about 1/3, which is good, by the way. You don't want your top 10 clients to be bringing in more than 50% of your revenue. Then you're in trouble because that means that you're putting too many eggs in one basket. You want that spread. I like that spread to be less than 1/3 of the overall revenue. So again, look at this report. This also allows you to also look at bottom 10, and maybe those are the ones you need to let go. But definitely, these are the kind of clients you are wanting to get 8%, 9%, gross margins from these clients, and then be happy. So, by the way, there is another report on gross margin if you wanted to, but I just wanted to make sure that you all understood the fact that it is the power of business intelligence in products like BQE Core, and there are a few other products out there that are were specifically designed for professional service firms. So that allow you to basically go ahead and work smarter, not harder, and be able to obviously make more profit and then make the right decisions. That's more important. All right. So that ends my screen sharing. I'm going to go back to my last slide here. If you ask me, Shafat, what is the right technology for me, I would say look for products that are designed with mobile first, because we do believe that nowadays with your mobile devices being so handy and so smart, that we can provide you good software should provide you a lot of business intelligence in the palm of your hands and anywhere, anytime. It should be fully integrated. Like, don't have like 8 products doing 8 different things. Look for one product that does your project management, business intelligence, resource management, and accounting, and so that it all can pull in a combined BI or business intelligence into one through one source of data base that is being populated. It should support both push and pull technologies. What I mean by that is that in Core we allow you to deliver reports automatically to people, so project managers can get the project status report on a weekly basis, as an example. That's pushing the information to them, and the pull would be more like your dashboard. You log in and you get a dashboard. So it should support both. It should be built for your industry, by the way. Don't try to get something that is built for manufacturing or retail when you are not a manufacturing or a retail business. You're a professional service business. Find a product that provides you the business intelligence for professional service. BQE Core, as I showed you the example, we do have built-in business intelligence I feel that we're so far ahead of everybody else, and we're adding artificial intelligence. It's something that you should take a look at it. If if you have an existing product that you are happy with and you don't want to move away from that, and it doesn't provide a BI, there are separate BI tools available in addition to ours, but ours is more of a combined, so you get the BI included in that. But there is no doubt in my mind that in order for you to survive and thrive for the next years to come, it is critical for you to seriously consider implementing technology that not only automate your repetitive mundane tasks, but also bring in the business intelligence to your managers and principals and partners that allow them to make the right executive decisions. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. We have about 7 minutes left for Q&A, and I will basically open up the floor and try to answer as many questions as I can in the next 7 minutes.
Thanks, Shafat. For the next few minutes, Shafat will respond to some of the questions submitted during the presentation. Please continue to submit questions using the Ask a Question box on the left side of the webcast dashboard. And our first question is, how do you collect the data, and can it be imported from other software?
So the question is, how do we collect the data, and can it be? So first of all, if you're using BQE Core, then the data is provided by your employees, such as time entries and expense entries and the billing you do and all of that stuff. If you are using another software, the answer is yes. We do have a data migration that we can bring in data from any product out there. In most cases, if your product can export to Excel or CSV format, we can import that. And in many cases, we can directly integrate with some of the products and bring in data, such as QuickBooks, for example. We integrate with QuickBooks Online, and we can bring data from QuickBooks Online automatically. Is there a second question?
Yeah, the next one is going to be, what do you see is the most useful but underutilized KPI for our industry?
Well, there's not one KPI that I would say is the most useful and most underutilized, but there's one thing that always bothers me the most is, inability for companies to measure the margins on their clients or their projects, and definitely not have that understanding. So, you do hourly projects and you do fixed fee projects, but if you ask most business owners, they have no idea on where they're making more money because they're not tracking the margins effectively. So I would say gross margins at the project and client level is something that I feel people should be tracking more closely in order for them to understand where they should be spending their time in terms of getting new clients and getting new projects.
Okay, thank you, Shafat. Let's do this one. This was an eye-opener, says a viewer. How much are your employees aware of the details you are developing about their efficiency and profitability?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. How much are what?
We had a comment from a viewer said this was an eye-opener. How much are your employees aware of the details you are developing about their efficiency and profitability?
Okay, so I think the typical policy that every business should have is they should share those details with employees.
Said this was an eye-opener. Okay, and we have one more. How does this product handle sales tax and products that we would be selling?
We do have a built-in capability to handle sales tax, so not only do we handle sales tax, we can also handle other county taxes on top of that and track all of that into our billing and accounting as well as business intelligence. So absolutely, it's well designed. And if you're outside of United States, we do handle other taxes like GSTs and VATs and HSTs also really well.
Okay.
And
we're going to try and fit in. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. We're going to try and fit in one more. Otherwise, we're probably going to be cut off.
Sure.
Okay. Any multilingual or multi-currency support?
Yes, Core does support multi-currency. So if your clients are in another countries and you want to bill them in their currency and receive payments in different currency, we do handle that. We're not multilingual, but we do have support for multilingual. In other words, you can customize application labels to be read in your own language, and we do support that. But we do not have a built-in multilingual in our products yet, but we do have full support for it. And of course, multi-currency, we do have full support for that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Shafat. As we finish up, please download your certificate of completion now from the Event Resources section on the left side of the screen. After downloading the certificate, enter your name in it and print and save a copy of the PDF. Note that the certificate will be available only during the remainder of this webcast, and a hard copy will not be mailed or emailed to you. If you missed our note at the beginning and you were watching the live webcast with the group, please download the multi-viewer registration form and complete and submit the form to receive credit. Additionally, this webcast has been recorded and will be archived on csengineermag.com/continuing education. As we conclude, you should see a webcast evaluation survey. We appreciate your feedback, which helps ZWAG Group and sponsors such as BQE plan future webcasts. Thank you so much, Shafat, and to everyone who joined us, and this ends today's webcast.
And thank you so much. Pleasure was all mine. If anybody wants to reach out to us, bqe.com, as simple as that, and feel free to give us a call to answer any additional questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to doing more of these with your team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.